Chapter 22. How can you compare Yoli with Xiaotai, Supreme Minister? That isn't what I would hope for. I beg you to never speak like that again. Prince Wen refuted him. All the ministers were convinced by his speech. Jifa then moved forward and asked him to change into his official robes and mount a coach. All along the way, the procession was warmly welcomed by the people playing music, burning fragrant incense, cheering, singing, and dancing. As the prince passed by, people cried out, "We haven't seen your highness for 7 years, but now that you've returned, we're overjoyed and greatly comforted." When he heard this, Prince Wen left his coach and rode on horseback. Everyone cheered thunderously. "Now we have a master again." When he got to Mount Small Dragon, Prince Wen saw all his civil and military officials and his 98 sons lining the road. Everyone was there except Bo Yikao. He remembered his son's death and how he had eaten the pies. His tears fell like rain and he covered his face with his sleeve, chanting, "Obeying the summons, I went to court. To right his conduct, I advised my lord. Framed by minions, I was thrown in jail. Without complaint, I suffered my misery. Then filial Bo Yikao pleaded my suit. Innocent, he died playing the zither. Compelled to eat his flesh, my heart broke. Till I was set free, and a prince made. Fleeing, I lived for Thunderbolt's effort. Alive, I happily returned to my native land. Reunited with my family after many a year. It grieves my heart as Bo Yikao's disappeared." At the end of his sum, he screamed in agony and tumbled from his horse onto the ground, his face white as paper. All his sons and ministers rushed up, and raising him from the ground, they gave him some tea. All of a sudden his belly grumbled and he vomited up a piece of meat. As it rolled across the ground, it grew 4 feet and 2 long ears. It then ran towards the west and disappeared. Prince Wen threw up 3 pieces of flesh, which all turned into rabbits and ran west. The ministers helped him onto the coach and brought him back to the city, where he was examined by the palace doctors and rested several days. When he had fully recovered, he told his ministers how he had been released from Yoli, created prince, and fled back to Westqi with the help of Thunderbolt and the innkeeper Shenjie. Shenjie should be handsomely rewarded before he returns home. Prince Wen concluded. Supreme Minister San Yishen knelt down. "Master, your virtues known throughout the country and your benevolence felt everywhere. 2/3 of the kingdom have already turned over to us. Your people live in peace and love you dearly. As the proverb says, the virtuous are blessed with 100 happiness, while the wicked plagued with 100 calamities. You've returned home, just as a dragon returns to the sea and a tiger to the mountains. We should prepare to take action while the time's ripe. 400 marquises have already declared independence in rebellion against King Zhou's atrocities. I should think that Zhao will be taken by someone else before long." Before he had the chance to finish speaking, General Nangong Kuo added, "My lord, now that you're home, you should take action at once to avenge the death of Prince Bo Yikao. We've got 400,000 soldiers and 60 brave generals. We ought to attack and take over the 5 passes, besiege Zhao, and have Fei Zheng and Daji beheaded in the marketplace. We can dethrone the tyrant and set up a good ruler to pacify the people." Prince Wen was displeased by their suggestions. "I've always depended on both of you as loyal subjects, but you've spoken most disloyally today. How dare you mention vengeance? The king's the head of the state. Even if he commits errors, a minister should dare not mention it. A minister should be loyal above all else, just as a son should be filial before all things. He must not offend his king or father with thoughtless words." He said, then continued, "I committed the error of admonishing His Majesty. Though I suffered much in those 7 years, it was all my own fault. I don't have a word of complaint against His Majesty. As the proverb says, a gentleman should be true to his fate and never try to avoid hardship. I was made a prince and came back home in glory. I'm grateful for this. As a loyal subject, I pray day and night for blessings on His Majesty. I wish only that the rebels might lay down their arms, and that the people may live in prosperity. I earnestly hope that you'll never again say things that violate the ethics and run contrary to common sense. They'll only make you the subject of ridicule for generations to come. But Prince Bo Yikao held no treacherous intentions when he went to. My son brought about his own death. Before I left for Jiaoge, I predicted that I would suffer for 7 years. I told you all not to send anyone to me, as I would return in glory at the end of the 7th year. Bo Yikao, however, disobeyed my instructions. He acted rashly, not understanding how to deal with the matter and not realizing the paucity of his own virtue and talent. His pride eventually cost him his life. I must deal with things according to the law and do my best to be a loyal and obedient subject. The marquises have already expressed the public opinion on the misconduct of King Zhou. There's no need for us to be the first to stir up the ranks. That would only bring about our own downfall. Now that I've returned to my native land, I should encourage virtue and raise the living standard of the people, so that they can live in security and prosperity. Then we can all enjoy peace and won't have to worry about victories and defeats. That is true happiness. We shouldn't burden the people and impoverish the land by provoking a war. Prince Wen said decisively. Both Sun Yisheng and Nangong Kuo kowtowed, acknowledging his instructions. I wish to build a terrace to the south of the city, which could be used to foretell disasters. It would be called the Spiritual Terrace. I'm afraid, however, that it would trouble the people and waste too much money. Since the terrace will be used to serve the people and not for pleasure seeking, I'm sure there will be no trouble. Besides, you're so good to the people that there's no one who's not grateful to you, and they'll certainly be glad to help. If you feel uneasy about it, you may pay them in silver and allow them to come and go as they please. Sun Yisheng suggested. Prince Wen was delighted with this idea, and acting on Sun Yisheng's advice, he issued a notice without delay. If you want to know what happened next, you must read the next chapter.